Time for your weekend preview here. Pittsburgh Sports Style. Guy Junker, Ken Laird. Big showcase game for the Pitt basketball team at the Carrier Dome tomorrow, Guy.
Looking forward to it, Ken, and they certainly have not been intimidated in the Carrier Dome in recent years, and it's kind of nice to play an old familiar foe after a lot of these new teams in the ACC the last couple of weeks. So I think they won 6 of their last 8 up there, so it's a nice test, but they certainly have shown that they're capable of winning on the road.
Clearly Syracuse, the best team they've played all year, maybe the best team they will play. Duke was preseason picked to win the league, but Cuse was 2, and they're good. As you say, that these teams know each other because of that. Not that Syracuse has been totally dominant. They struggled with Boston College for a little bit earlier in the week. I do expect Pitt to hang in there, but it's the second game without Deron Johnson.
Yeah.
And they're bound to have a little growing pains here as they get their rotation set. And I mean, I don't expect them to win the game. Going in, I expect them to hang in there and battle, but this looks like a game where they'll be outmatched.
Well, there'll be games where Deron Johnson will be missed more than he was the other night, and I think they were so good at cleaning up the glass, dominated the boards, so good with foul shooting against Georgia Tech that those three-point shots off the bench weren't as important as they will be in some games. Yeah. This may be one of those games where they'll be a little more important. But especially the Penguins don't – this is the first time since the season started that the Penguins don't play on a Saturday or a Sunday. So it's with no hockey this weekend. That everybody's excited for the NFL playoffs, but to me, that's the marquee game of the weekend. Pitt Syracuse,
4:00 tomorrow, and the Penguins had the day off Thursday as well. Basically, a 2-day weekend. They sent Simone Dupre down to the minors, which may be the last time we see him, but who knows? I think Chris Letang's year has brought up a lot of discussion, his highs and lows about his stability on the team, and then now Dupre, who they declared a top 4 defenseman before the year began, has not been able to make the squad, and they have Bortuzzo beating him out. So trade deadline's a month away, Guy, but as we get into kind of a week to just look big picture with the Penguins, what are you seeing at the blue line here with the moving parts?
Well, I don't think they thought they were going to get what they got out of Olli Mata. So whatever they were talking about in September it would change if for nothing else because of that. Letang's been hurt much of the year, and I think his injury has caused some of the problems with his play. The giveaways and some of the mental mistakes that he makes are frustrating, but there's a lot of talent in there. You got to think twice before you go giving that away, or at least make sure you get something good in return. This is a guy that finished in the finals for the Norris Trophy last year. This has been a bad year for him. He got hurt in training camp. He's been dealing with one form of an injury or another, playing through some of that, hasn't played a bunch again. I'm not making excuses for him. I would just like to see him play a little more heady of a game. For a guy that's been around as much as he has now, I mean, his skating ability, his offensive abilities, I just think he can be better than he is. And I almost think it's like it's one of those, it's become an avalanche. He's trying so hard to play good that it's taking him out of his game, and he's playing bad. He's trying too hard.
And they scored 2 goals in a series last year, so they need offense from their blue liners in come playoff time. They're going to need him.
Well, they have a lot more. Last year, for the whole season, I think these numbers are right. I think they had 18 goals from defensemen total, and they're exactly where they would have been last year at 48 games. I think they have 25. We had 2 goals from a defenseman the other night in a win over Washington. So I think they have had more offense from the defensemen, and that's coming with Letang missing a big chunk.
So 4 of 6 games for the Penguins start. 4 games and 6 nights start on Monday. Florida in town. And then, of course, you mentioned the AFC NFC Championship games. Would imagine most Pittsburghers rooting against San Francisco, who go after their 6th Lombardi trophy. And, of course, New England, Bill Cowher's self-proclaimed greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick on the sidelines going for his 4th Super Bowl, and Brady as well. So they're always enemy number 1 around here.
We're going to talk a lot later in the show when we pick pork about the 2 games. I think the AFC game is being overbilled as Tom Brady against Peyton Manning, which is the sexy matchup. But I think from what we've seen in these playoffs, it may be as much about Moreno and Blunt and who runs the ball. Certainly running the ball was big in the AFC games last week. And with the NFC game, maybe not quite as much about the quarterbacks, but these are 2 really good defenses. Seattle's has been good all year, and San Francisco's has really been good the last 8 games. I wouldn't be surprised if if we see, what would you call a defensive game today? I mean, you don't see 10-7 games anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a 24-17, 21-17 game in the NFC game. But I'm looking forward to it. I think you got some really good teams here, some good side storylines. I like Peyton Manning a lot, and I agree with you. I think most Pittsburghers just hate New England because and just defending the Steelers' territory would like to see San Francisco out of there.
It all hinges on Omaha and $8 Walmart khaki pants. Guy Junker,
Omaha
Ken
Steaks is trying to capitalize on that.
This is TribLive.com.